Everyone is telling you to take magnesium for your leg circulation. Your neighbor insists it works. You've seen it in countless health videos, and maybe even your doctor has mentioned it at some point. And yes, magnesium does have real benefits for the body. That part is not in question. But when your main problem is poor circulation in the legs, cold feet that never seem to warm up, swelling around the ankles that gets worse as the day goes on, night cramps that wake you from sleep, or that heavy, drained feeling in your lower legs by the afternoon, then magnesium alone is not solving the real issue. In fact, focusing only on it while ignoring what modern vascular research actually identifies as the key nutritional drivers behind circulation decline in older adults can quietly cost you months or even years of unnecessary discomfort. I'm Dr. William Lee, physician, vascular researcher, and author, and what I'm about to explain is something the mainstream supplement conversation has been slow to catch up with. There is a specific vitamin, one overlooked, often undertested, and frequently depleted, that sits at the core of how blood flow in your legs is actually maintained. Researchers have understood its importance in vascular biology for years, but in everyday wellness discussions, it has been pushed aside in favor of magnesium, compression socks, and circulation devices that only address symptoms on the surface. Before we go deeper, consider a real clinical finding that puts this into perspective. At the University of Warwick in the United Kingdom, researchers conducted a controlled study on adults aged 65 to 80 who had confirmed peripheral circulation issues, meaning reduced blood flow specifically in the legs and feet. After 12 weeks of targeted nutritional intervention focused on the vitamin we will fully reveal shortly, participants experienced an average 38% improvement in ankle brachial index, a clinical measure of how efficiently blood flows to the lower limbs. Alongside that, symptoms like leg heaviness, nighttime cramping, and cold feet dropped by about 44%. These are not minor shifts. These are meaningful changes in daily physical comfort, and they came from a nutrient that costs only a few cents per day. There is something even more important to understand. The number one vitamin in today's discussion is not what most people expect. It is not vitamin D3, although D3 plays a role. It is not vitamin B12, although that matters too. The key nutrient is something your body naturally produces when you are young and healthy, but that internal production declines sharply, by more than 60% between the ages of 40 and 75. That decline is one of the hidden drivers behind reduced vascular performance, yet it is rarely measured in routine blood tests. Stay with this carefully because the implication is simple but powerful. What many people assume is normal aging circulation decline is often a correctable biochemical deficiency. Now, before we move into the actual breakdown, I want to connect directly with you. I read every comment on this channel. So tell me honestly, how old are you and what circulation symptom is affecting you most? Is it cold feet that never warm up, swelling that builds throughout the day, or cramps that hit at night without warning? Your experiences directly influence what I focus on in future content. Now we begin the countdown from 5 to 1, moving from important but secondary nutrients to the most impactful compound for restoring circulation in the legs, according to current research. Number 5 is something most people associate with immune support and citrus fruits, not blood flow or vascular health. That is vitamin C. But its role here is far more structural than most people realize. Vitamin C is essential for the production and maintenance of collagen, which forms the framework of your blood vessels. To understand why this matters, you have to stop thinking of blood vessels as rigid pipes. They are not static tubes. They are living, flexible structures built largely from collagen, the same protein that keeps skin elastic and joints stable. When collagen is strong and abundant, blood vessels respond smoothly to changes in pressure, expand when needed, and maintain proper diameter for efficient flow. But as collagen production declines with age, dropping significantly after 65, this structural support weakens. Vessels become stiffer, less responsive, and narrower, which directly contributes to reduced circulation in the lower limbs. Research from the Linus Pauling Institute at Oregon State University has shown that vitamin C is not just supportive of collagen production, it is required for it. Without sufficient vitamin C, the enzymes responsible for stabilizing collagen fibers cannot function properly, meaning the entire structural repair system slows down. Clinical findings also show that splitting vitamin C intake improves results. A divided dose approach, such as 250 milliliter in the morning and 250 milliliter in the evening, maintains more stable blood levels throughout the day and supports continuous collagen formation. In comparative observations, this approach improves small vessel flexibility significantly more than taking the same total dose once daily. For better absorption, especially in older adults with more sensitive digestion, buffered or liposomal forms tend to work more efficiently than standard ascorbic acid. And there is an important synergy often ignored: copper. Small amounts of copper-rich foods, such as sunflower seeds or cashews taken with vitamin C, support the enzymes that actually weave collagen fibers together. Without this cofactor, even adequate vitamin C cannot fully complete the repair process of vascular tissue. At this stage, vitamin C is only the foundation. It improves structure, but it does not yet address the deeper issue of calcium regulation inside blood vessels. That comes next. Moving from the structural foundation of vitamin C, we now reach a point where the conversation shifts from supporting blood vessel strength to something even more direct, controlling what physically builds up inside those vessels over time. Because even if your arteries are strong and flexible, there is another slow process happening underneath that most people never feel until circulation is already significantly reduced. Number 4 is a fat-soluble vitamin that plays a far more active role in vascular health than it is usually given credit for. This is vitamin K2, specifically in its MK7 form. Unlike vitamin C, which supports structure from the outside, K2 works more like a biological regulator inside your bloodstream, influencing where minerals go and where they do not belong. To understand its importance, you need to understand one of the most overlooked processes in aging blood vessels: vascular calcification. Over time, calcium does not always stay where it is supposed to, inside bones and teeth. Instead, in many older adults, it slowly begins depositing along the inner walls of arteries. This is not something you feel happening in real time. It is gradual, silent, and cumulative. But structurally, it changes everything. Imagine the inside of a flexible hose slowly becoming coated with a thin layer of hardened mineral. At first, it is barely noticeable, but over years, that layer thickens, reducing elasticity, narrowing the passage, and making it increasingly difficult for blood to flow efficiently, especially to the lower extremities like the legs and feet. This is where vitamin K2 MK7 becomes critical. Its role is not passive. It activates specific proteins in the body, most importantly, matrix GLA protein, which acts like a biological sorting system for calcium. When functioning properly, this system helps direct calcium away from soft tissues like arteries and keeps it where it belongs, in the skeletal system. Without sufficient K2 activity, calcium regulation becomes less efficient, and that imbalance contributes directly to vascular stiffness. Long-term research from the Maastricht University Group in the Netherlands has shown that consistent supplementation with vitamin K2 MK7 is associated with measurable reductions in arterial stiffness over time. In adults over 55, improvements were not only seen in imaging and vascular markers, but also in reported symptoms related to circulation, including leg discomfort and heaviness. The changes were gradual but significant, especially when maintained over several months. The clinically studied intake used in most vascular-focused protocols is around 180 micrograms daily of MK7, taken consistently with a meal that contains dietary fat. This detail is not minor, because K2 is fat-soluble. Without fat present in the meal, absorption drops significantly and the biological effect is reduced. This is one of the most common mistakes people make when supplementing fat-soluble vitamins. They take them on an empty stomach and then assume they are ineffective. There is also a critical relationship between vitamin K2 and vitamin D3 that cannot be ignored. These two nutrients do not operate in isolation. Vitamin D3 increases the production of certain proteins involved in calcium transport, while vitamin K2 activates those proteins so they function correctly. In simple terms, D3 tells the body to move calcium, and K2 tells it where that calcium should actually go. When D3 is taken without sufficient K2, calcium signaling can become unbalanced. When K2 is taken without adequate D3, the system lacks enough activation signals to function at full capacity. Together, however, they form a coordinated regulatory system that supports both bone health and vascular flexibility at the same time. To make this practical, many clinical protocols recommend taking K2 MK7 with a main meal that includes fat alongside vitamin D3 in a consistent daily dose, creating a synchronized cycle of calcium regulation and vascular support. One real world example often discussed in clinical settings involves patients who present with classic circulation complaints: ankle swelling, heaviness in the legs by evening, and reduced stamina when standing for long periods. One such case involved a 74-year-old woman who had gradually stopped participating in her regular social and community activities because standing for extended periods became uncomfortable. Her medical evaluations showed no acute cardiac issue, but rather age-related vascular stiffness and fluid retention patterns. After introducing a routine that included vitamin K2 MK7 at 180 micrograms daily, paired with vitamin D3 and taken with dietary fat, changes began to appear within weeks. Over approximately 10 weeks, she reported a noticeable reduction in ankle swelling by the end of the day and an improved ability to remain on her feet without the same level of discomfort. While not an instant transformation, the progression was steady enough that she returned to activities she had previously stepped away from. What makes vitamin K2 especially important is that its effects are not about forcing immediate changes in blood flow, but about slowly reversing one of the structural contributors to vascular rigidity itself. It is addressing the environment inside the arteries rather than just temporarily improving circulation dynamics. As we move forward in this breakdown, the next nutrients shift away from structural regulation and into direct control of blood vessel signaling and flow dynamics. That is where the system begins to respond more quickly and where the improvements in circulation become more noticeable in a shorter time frame. Now we move from structural regulation inside the arteries into something more immediate and more dynamic: the actual signaling system that controls how wide or narrow your blood vessels become from moment to moment. This is where circulation starts to feel noticeably different in daily life, because we are no longer only talking about long-term vessel health, but about real-time blood flow changes that affect warmth, energy, and endurance in the legs. Number 3 is a B vitamin that plays a far more direct role in circulation than most people realize. This is vitamin B3, also known as niacin, specifically in its immediate release form. Unlike vitamins that work slowly over weeks or months, niacin can influence blood flow dynamics in a much shorter time frame because of how it interacts with the endothelium, the thin layer of cells lining your blood vessels. To understand its effect, you need to understand one key signaling molecule: nitric oxide. This is one of the body's primary vasodilators. In simple terms, it tells blood vessels to relax and widen. When nitric oxide levels are healthy, blood flows more freely through the arteries, reaching the muscles and tissues of the legs more efficiently. When nitric oxide declines, which commonly happens with age, blood vessels tend to stay more constricted. The result is slower circulation, colder extremities, and that heavy fatigue sensation in the lower limbs. Niacin supports this system by stimulating the release of nitric oxide from endothelial cells. This creates a measurable widening effect in blood vessels, improving flow dynamics throughout the body, including the femoral artery, which is the main blood supply route for the thighs and lower legs. Research from Vascular studies, including work from the University of Washington, has shown that therapeutic use of niacin in older adults can improve blood flow velocity in major arteries within weeks. These changes are not theoretical. They are measurable through imaging and vascular flow assessments. In practical terms, this means blood is physically moving more efficiently through the same pathways it struggled to pass through before. One important detail with niacin is the so-called flush response. This is a temporary warmth, redness, or tingling sensation in the skin that can occur shortly after taking it. Many people misunderstand this reaction and assume it is a negative side effect. In reality, it is a direct sign of vasodilation, your blood vessels expanding in response to the compound. While it can feel uncomfortable at first, it typically becomes less intense with continued use as the body adapts. Clinically, a common starting approach is a low dose of immediate release niacin taken with food, usually in the evening, since taking it on an empty stomach can intensify the flushing response. Gradual titration is often used, increasing slowly over time so the body can adjust while maintaining consistent vascular response benefits. Niacin does not work alone in this system. It functions more efficiently when the full spectrum of B vitamins is present. This is because B vitamins operate as a coordinated metabolic network. If niacin is used in isolation over long periods, the balance of other B vitamins can become less optimal, which may reduce overall metabolic efficiency. For this reason, it is often paired with a balanced B complex to support full enzymatic function. What makes Niacin especially relevant to leg circulation is its speed of action compared to structural nutrients like vitamin K2 or collagen supporting vitamin C. While those nutrients gradually improve the integrity and flexibility of blood vessels, niacin influences how those vessels behave in real time, how open they are, how much blood passes through them, and how efficiently oxygen reaches the lower extremities. This combination of structural support and functional dilation is what creates meaningful improvement in circulation symptoms such as cold feet, heaviness in the legs, and nighttime cramping. But niacin still sits in the middle of the hierarchy. It improves flow, but it does not fully address one of the most common and widespread deficiencies affecting vascular function in older adults. That brings us to number 2, where the focus shifts to a vitamin that is not only widely deficient, but also essential for activating multiple vascular pathways at once, including those responsible for nitric oxide production, inflammation control, and blood vessel flexibility. Now we reach the second most important nutrient in this entire circulation framework. And this is where the story becomes more surprising for most people, because this is a vitamin that millions of seniors are already taking, often daily, yet many are not getting its full vascular benefit due to dosage, timing, or biological activation limits. Number 2 is vitamin D3. At first, many people only associate vitamin D3 with bone health or general immunity, but its role in circulation is far more direct than it is usually explained. Vitamin D3 receptors are found throughout the lining of blood vessels, meaning every artery and vein in your body has the ability to respond to this vitamin at a cellular level. When D3 binds to these receptors, it influences multiple processes at once. It supports nitric oxide production, it regulates inflammation inside vessel walls, and it helps maintain the structural flexibility of arteries over time. To understand why this matters for leg circulation specifically, you have to think about what happens inside blood vessels as we age. Chronic low-grade inflammation gradually affects the endothelial lining. At the same time, nitric oxide levels decline, making it harder for vessels to relax and expand properly. When both of these processes are impaired, blood flow becomes less efficient, especially in the lower limbs where circulation already has to work against gravity. Research from institutions such as Johns Hopkins University has shown that individuals with optimal vitamin D levels tend to have significantly better peripheral arterial function compared to those with deficient levels. In practical terms, this means better blood flow to the legs, improved endurance when standing or walking, and fewer symptoms like cold feet or heaviness. However, one of the most important findings in population research is how widespread vitamin D deficiency actually is. In large national surveys, a major percentage of adults over 65 show insufficient levels, often without realizing it. This is partly because the body's ability to produce vitamin D from sunlight decreases with age. The skin becomes less efficient at synthesis, and lifestyle factors such as indoor living further reduce exposure. As a result, even people who think they are getting enough sun are often still below optimal blood levels. This is why supplementation becomes so important, but dosage matters. Many people take relatively low doses of vitamin D3 that are enough to prevent severe deficiency, but not enough to support optimal vascular function. For circulation-related benefits, higher daily intake is often used in clinical practice, typically taken with a meal that contains dietary fat to improve absorption, since vitamin D3 is fat soluble. There's also a critical interaction between vitamin D3 and magnesium that is often overlooked. Magnesium is required for the enzymatic conversion of vitamin D into its active hormonal form in the body. Without adequate magnesium, vitamin D can circulate in an inactive state, meaning you may be supplementing but not fully activating its biological effects. This is why magnesium is not the primary solution for circulation on its own, but it's an essential partner that allows vitamin D3 to function properly. When these two nutrients are balanced correctly, vitamin D3 can more effectively support vascular signaling pathways, including those involved in nitric oxide production and inflammatory control. This combination contributes to improved vessel responsiveness, which directly impacts how efficiently blood reaches the lower extremities. Clinical observations often show that individuals who correct vitamin D deficiency, especially when combined with magnesium support, report improvements such as reduced leg heaviness, better temperature regulation in the feet, and improved comfort during walking or standing. These changes typically develop over weeks rather than days, reflecting gradual improvements in vascular function rather than instant effects. To illustrate this, consider a typical case seen in clinical settings: an older adult experiencing persistent leg fatigue and nighttime discomfort. Blood testing often reveals vitamin D levels significantly below optimal range, even if they have been supplementing at low doses. After adjusting intake to a more effective level, paired with magnesium support and taken consistently with meals, follow up assessments often show improved blood levels and corresponding reductions in circulation related symptoms over the following months. But even with all of its importance, vitamin D3 is still not the final answer